Shocking Artaud. House lights fade very slowly. In silence. Blackout. The stage lights do not come up. Silence. Too much silence. The house lights flicker back on. Silence. Noises. Coughing. Spitting. It becomes apparent there is a disturbance occurring. A man is moving among the audience. He wears a foul-smelling coat, heavy with the rancid odour of the habitually unwashed tramp. The smell alone is distressing the audience, but the man is also accosting individuals. At first we can't hear what he is saying, just the reactions. The man is Antonin Artaud. Sir, the world has done me much harm. You are part of the world, so you have harmed me. Please give me 5 francs. As he continues to move through the audience, the stink of his coat and the intensity of his manner begin to fill the auditorium. He badgers individuals with increasing vehemence. Madam, the world has done me much harm. You are part of the world, so you have harmed me. Please give me 5 francs. He makes his way down to the stage, discomforting as many as possible on his way, finally picking on someone at the very edge of the stage. Sir, the world has done me much harm. You are part of the world, so you have harmed me. Please give me 5 francs. The house lights start to flicker, increasingly randomly, annoyingly. The flickering becomes almost stroboscopic. The auditorium grows cooler. It becomes a touch too cool. House lights flicker out. Then, in total darkness, we hear Artaud in voiceover. We are not yet born. We are not yet in the world. There is not yet a world. Things have not yet been made. The reason for being has not yet been found. Still in darkness we hear strange, violent, rhythmic beating, clearly the sound of metal on wood. This segues into the sound of Native American drumming, which becomes for a while too loud. Gradually it fades down, but continues under Artaud's voice. I hate and expel as cowardly all beings who do not recognize that life is given to them only so that they can entirely remake and reconstitute their bodies. This voiceover loops for a while, then slowly fades. When the voice is gone, the drums have gone too. Silence. The stage lights come up very slowly, in utter silence, and the play begins. Winter, dawn, a pavilion. Snow covers everything, as a fine dust, inside and out. Chest of drawers, simple table, chair, bed, all covered in books and papers, bottles and glasses, and ashtrays. Sketches of heads festoon the walls. All are dusted with snow, as is the body of Artaud. He is very still. Dead? Yes, but no. He sits on the floor at the foot of his bed, with one of his shoes in one of his hands. This is all for half a minute. Then a door opens. A man, clearly a gardener, enters with a breakfast tray. He sees Artaud. He weeps. The first shock. A spastic fit of light and sound. Epilepsy. Convulsion. The audience feels disorientation, obliteration, loss of self and the moment. Electroshock therapy. The gardener disappears. The snow disappears. Simultaneously, Artaud rises up, and a doctor appears. Light and sound settle. Artaud is raving. We see things. The table has a great hole hacked out of it. There is a large block of timber, mostly pulverized, and a hammer close by. A poker has been twisted into the shape of a snake. Artaud is defending himself against the demons who are draining strength from his testicles. He is screaming, spitting, and dancing with rage, intoning magical imprecations, demanding that the doctor join in the responses. The doctor, clearly terrified, does not. At last Artaud fiercely stabs the knife he has been brandishing into the table. "You will not get out of here alive unless you respond." The doctor starts to scream with him. This persists. Suddenly Artaud stops screaming. The doctor too. If we'd been on the stage, we'd have been a great success. Artaud goes to the table and writes for a while. The doctor watches in amazement and admiration. Artaud leaps up again to once more dance and scream and fight with evil spirits. Sudden cessation and detachment. "Terrible things have happened, Monsieur Docteur. Just now, a crowd of men were masturbating on me in between Syria and Lebanon." The second shock. More intense than the first, but everything played in reverse. Sound and light. Doctor disappears. Old Artaud disappears, as young Artaud appears, out of him. Light settles on spot on young Artaud. Backward sound ceases in a gluey turd plop. Young Artaud, febrile but exquisitely handsome and disciplined, speaks. "For me, it is a matter of nothing less than knowing whether I have the right to go on thinking. I am constantly in pursuit of my intellectual being. I promise to go right to the end of myself. Flash! I am not trying to justify myself in your eyes. It matters very little whether I seem to anyone else to exist. To cure me of the judgment of others, I have all the distance which separates me from myself. Flash! I have committed myself finally to submitting to my inferiority. I am waiting only for my brain to change. An hour from now, perhaps, or tomorrow, my thinking will be different. But this present thinking exists, and I am not prepared to lose it. Flash! The little heavenly poet opens the shutters of his heart. The skies clash. Oblivion uproots the symphony. The third shock. Same as first. Slightly less intense. Briefer. Young Artaud vanishes. Old Artaud is highly agitated and yelling out furiously against evil spirits. He stops and hurls himself at one of the drawings on the wall, the projection of the true body. Across the chest of the figure he draws flames. It's becoming something. The fourth shock. Less intense and briefer. From it emerges a flicking and apparently random photomontage of Artaud in various phases of beauty, cinematic iconism, and decrepitude. This repeats, reverses, and loops almost to the point of bewilderment. Young Artaud, dressed as a doctor, plays the scene. At the age of 4 years, Antonin had a severe attack of meningitis. The family and their doctor assumed it was due to the child having fallen on his head. It may have been the hereditary syphilis. He was not expected to survive. The virus gave Antonin a nervous, irritable temperament throughout adolescence. He also suffered from neuralgia and stammering. At 17, he suffered a crisis of depression, causing him to burn 4 years' worth of poetry and to abandon school. Shortly afterwards, his parents arranged for the first in a long series of sanatorium stays for their disruptive son. The fifth shock. Happens in silence. Light as before. Painless migraine. Young Artaud disappears. Old Artaud, in manic pantomime, is silently chanting his verses and pulverizing the piece of timber with his hammer. This continues for an uncomfortable time. Artaud stops hammering, very out of breath. Goes for, finds and lights a cigarette. Puffs on fag to get his breath. Becomes icily in control of himself. What is a real madman? It is a man who has preferred to go mad, in the socially acceptable sense, rather than give up a certain higher idea of human honor. That is why society has organized the strangulation in lunatic asylums of all those it wants to be rid of or to protect itself from, because they have refused to be accomplices in certain supremely filthy acts. Because a madman is also a man to whom society does not want to listen, because it wants to prevent him from telling intolerable truths. The sixth shock. Lighting as during the first. Artaud stands rigidly through the assault of the lights. He speaks through it like Lear on the heath, not ranting, articulating viscerally, drawing the words carefully from his gut, making his marrow speak. Si je suis poète ou acteur, ce n'est pas pour écrire ou déclamer des poésies, mais pour les vivre. If I am a poet or actor, it is not to write or declaim poems, but to live them.